Good morning, friends. Good morning and welcome to everybody. Lou, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Yes, good to see you. And let me take this opportunity to wish all of you a very, very happy new year. Hopefully, these last 2 years, 20 and 21, are behind us, and 22 will be a good year, healthy, good for all of us. Having said that,
a lot of that, right? We get to make our own year, right? Don't we? To a large extent, to more extent than we normally believe. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, it's what I'm saying is, it's being stuck at home, not having to go out, worrying about masks and vaccinations and all these things. It's just a pain. Want to get back to our regular life, all of us.
That's right.
So we are now still on chapter 18, heading slowly but surely towards the end. We're going to be talking about verse 13 through 15 in this episode 196, almost touching the 200 mark.
I know, right?
Lou, what do you think?
I know it's going to be interesting, and again, we're setting new records every week on the amount of people listening to the podcasts. And
is that right?
Yeah. Our ramp is going up. Our little chart is going up. We're getting more listeners all the time, and we love it.
Huh. Good. I don't even want to ask because I'm tempted, but I won't ask. All right. So verse 13, chapter 18 says, so up to now, what we've been talking about is till verse 12, we talked about the topic of renunciation. And I remember we said renunciation is not renunciation of the action, something that you did, but all of us, when we do something, we say, I did this. I want people to recognize it. I want people to thank me. I want people to say, he's the greatest. She's the one that did it. What a wonderful dinner, that kind of stuff. And renunciation of the ego, the I-ness, the my-ness of it is what we've been talking about till the end of verse 12. I won't go into details. I would appreciate it if you all brush up and look at the previous episodes, because otherwise you don't get the full benefit of the next episodes. So up to now, till verse 12, we talked about the topic of renunciation. That's what Krishna was talking about in the Gita. And verse 13, which is what we're doing today, 14, 15, and then 16, 17, 18 in the next episodes, explains action. How we do what we do. What really precipitates an action. What makes me get up from this chair and walk somewhere else and do something? What is it? Why do you do something? Sometimes we do things without even thinking about it. But the Gita tells us, Krishna tells us, that every action has 5 causes behind it. And then he goes into further details, breaks it down into 3 components of this and 3 components of that. He explains action very analytically. Action deals with renunciation. So understanding action helps us better understand renunciation. So you may say, well, what is he talking about? What does this mean? When we went through medical school, we had to learn anatomy. And you had to learn every muscle and which bone it's attached to and which organ does this. And oftentimes a person who's new to it says, what do I need to learn all this for? If I'm a doctor, if I'm working in a hospital and I'm doing, I don't know, psychiatry, for instance, what do I need to know about muscles and bones and things? But it's all calculated to make you understand the human functioning in a certain way. It's like when you're teaching your child mathematics and you say, you must know your times tables. I don't know about in other countries, but in India, it's sort of you're forced to know your times tables. So by the time you get to a certain young age, you know your times tables by heart. Mm-hmm. And as you get further and further in life, your calculations are done in your head. When somebody gives you something, you just know it off the top of your head very quickly because your math is so good. Your calculations, your multiplication tables are so good. So, Similarly, you must know these intricacies of why these actions are produced so that you can understand renunciation, ego, etc. Given that, this verse says the following 5 causes which makes action possible. Krishna says, I will teach you that which is declared in Sankhya. Sankhya means numbers. Krishna says, I'll teach you that which is declared in Sankhya, which is the end of all action. Why Sankhya, numbers? It's declared in Vedanta, right? In the Upanishads. So why is that called Sankhya, numbers? Simple reason is that everything in Vedanta, Upanishads, and the Gita is sort of numerical. If you were to put down in your notes, number 1, number 2, number 3, this is all numerically listed to say you must know this. So here Krishna says in Sankhya, he doesn't say Vedanta, he doesn't say Upanishads. He says that which is declared in Sankhya, those 5 causes of every action, I will tell you. So that you can then get rid of your doership and do your action with renunciation of your doership. Okay, so then verse 14. Verse 14 says, the seat of the action, which is our body, number 1. Number 2, the doer or karta in Sanskrit. The seat of the body, adhisthana, the karta, the doer, me, I'm the doer, the various instruments you use to perform your action, both instruments within my body, my mind, my intellect, my arms, my legs, and other instruments, a spade, a shovel, a scissors, whatever. So the body, the karta, the doer, the instruments that he uses, his own body and mind, intellect, as well as scissors, etc. That's the third. The fourth is instruments which need a life force, a prana. Because if you're not alive, if you don't have that prana inside you, you can't function. So you need that prana. And last 5, the Lord. So these are the 5 causes that every action deserves. Now keep this in mind. I'll go over it again because this will come up again in the next 4 or 5 verses. So the first one is called adhisthana. Sthan means a place, right? Rajasthan, Afghanistan. Afghanistan is the place of the Afghans. Rajasthan is the name, is the place of the Rajas, the kings. So similarly, sthan, here adhisthana means the body. The body is the foundation of every action. If you don't have a body, just have a mind, just have a subtle body or a causal body, you can't do any action. You need a physical, a gross body. All action starts from the gross body. Now, starts meaning the physical part. Actually, it may start in the mind. The body is, right, we've talked about this other times, the gross body, which is the physical body, the subtle body, which is the mind and the intellect, and the causal body. The causal body consists of the cause. The reason it's called causal body is because it is the very cause of your birth. You were born because of the vasanas and desires inside your causal body. Those vasanas and desires needed you to be born so that you can fulfill your desires. So the desires said, I need to be fulfilled. I need a body to fulfill my desires. And then you come to the board. That is the causal body. So you have the gross body, the causal body, and the physical body. That's all part of this adhisthana. That is your actions. So the cause of your body, the causal body, produces vasanas, desires, thoughts, and action. Thoughts, you have a thought, say, I wish I could eat that donut. That becomes a desire for the donut. And then it's your feet get up, you get up from the chair, you start walking, you take it in your hand. All of these actions take place in order to fulfill that desire. Desire and action manifest in the subtle body and the causal body, right? The desire comes from the causal body, and the action manifests itself in your mind and intellect. The mind has to say, I got to get up, I got to walk over there, reach out for the donut, pick it up. That's the subtle body. The mind and the action take care of that. And then the action happens through the gross body. So that is the first cause of any action. For any action to take place, you need these bodies, the gross, the subtle, and the causal body. Second is the karta, the doer. I'm the doer of any action. You're the doer of any of your actions. You identify, I identify, you identify with your body. Therefore, you believe that you are doing the action. Simple enough, right?
Yep.
I got up, I went, I picked up the donut. All of this is I, my body, and I think I am the doer of this action. I did this, therefore I should get recognition. I am the body, therefore I did this. Whereas is really all originates in the pure consciousness. And we will come to that. Pure consciousness creates conditioned consciousness, which functions through your body. I think we all know this, but we'll elaborate on this later. Pure consciousness is just basically Sat Chit Anand, right? Bliss, existence, and existence and bliss. Third one will come to me. Sorry. Karanam, the third one, is instruments. Mind, intellect, and ego with the organs of perceptions and the 5 organs of action are considered your instruments. You're doing this. Also, external instruments needed to perform action. We mentioned this before. This body, everything in it is considered your instruments, and you use a pair of scissors or you use a tong to pick up the donut. All of those are considered karanam or instruments. Then the instruments, my body needs a life force, which is prana. If you don't have a prana, your life force, you cannot even lift your hand. Nothing can be done without that prana. The prana shakti, the strength of your life force, is what is making you do. The actual functioning of your body, of your various instruments, becomes one of the constituents, the 4th constituents of your action. And the last one is the Lord, right? You may say, well, what does the Lord have to do with my actions? You just told me that the Lord has nothing to do with anything. The Lord, doesn't tell you what to do. The Lord just enlivens you, gives you the prana, gives you the force. But think about it this way. I want to see something. I say, I'm the one who's seeing it. It's my body, my eyes, my retina, my cornea, I'm looking at the thing. But if it's dark, if there's no light, if there's no sun, I can't see anything. My eyes may be perfectly okay. I'm not blind, but without light, I cannot see. I need the Lord to provide the sun for me or electricity, whatever, so that I can see. You may say, well, what if the sun isn't there, electricity is there? The Lord is not producing electricity. Okay, fine. I don't agree with that, but still. What about walking? Oh, well, it's my legs, my arms, I'm walking. Yeah, but without gravity? Gravity is not produced by national grid. So gravity is produced by the Lord.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God is right, literally. If I didn't have gravity, I'd be floating off the earth. Because of the gravity, because of the Lord, I can do the action of walking. So I need the Lord to make sure that there's oxygen in the air, that I can breathe, that there's proper humidity, there's proper temperature, there's gravity, there's light. All of these things are necessary for any action to take place. I think that's sort of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
In addition, the Lord is pure consciousness. That's what we say. God, and many of the theologists are saying that pure consciousness is what God is. The Lord is pure consciousness. That pure consciousness makes this conditioned consciousness, makes the body come alive, makes the body act, that makes the senses able to perceive, the mind and intellect is able to function as a result of this consciousness. Then we come to verse number 15. Verse number 15 says, whatever action a man performs, he performs by his body or by his mind or his words / speech, right? So those are the 3. Remember, we said so far, actions are all done by 5 constituents, 5 causes. But now he's going one step further. He's saying that you are doing these actions by your body, your mind, and your speech. So you say, that's it? You would think that actions, you say, my legs, my this, my that. No, just those 3, your body, your mind, and your speech or words. Whether the action is correct or not, Krishna says, these 5, the ones that we just mentioned, are the ones causing the action. This verse specifies that all actions happen at the level of the body and the mind and speech, word and speech. Deed thought and word is how we think of it. Your deed, your actions, your body, your mind, and your speech. The actions, he says, Krishna says, could be correct or incorrect. It doesn't matter. They all come from these three: body, mind, and speech. These five factors that we mentioned previously in the previous verse are responsible for and necessary for all action. Not even one can be missing. You can't say, well, I don't have a body, but I have everything else. I have the instrument, I have the doer, I have the Lord, everything, but I don't have a body. It doesn't work. I have everything, but I don't have the life force. I don't have prana. No. I have everything, but the Lord is absent. No. Every one of those must be necessary. These actions are either physical, which is the body, or verbal, which is the speech, or mind, which is the thought. The same five causes are responsible with all of these things. They could be good actions or adharmic, against your dharma actions. Physical actions can be seen, right? I go and pick up the donut, somebody watches me, say, oh, he likes donuts, which I don't, but physical actions can be seen. Verbal actions, words, speech, can be heard. Thoughts, no. You can't know what's going on in somebody's mind. Physical action, the body, yes. Speech, yes. And these are very important. We'll come to this. And mind, thoughts, no. You cannot compare. Only you know what your thoughts are. And it's making an impression on your mind, which will take it to the next life. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you speak, and you hear your own speak, you will be putting it, carving it down as a vritti in your mind and intellect and your subtle body and your causal body, and you will take it to the next life. So that's very, very important. Physical human beings perform actions at the level of speech. You may say, well, what when I'm not speaking? When you're not speaking, only thing you don't hear is your words by your ears, but you're speaking inside. Your thoughts, right. You're speaking. You may not be whispering, you may not be murmuring, you may not be speaking loudly, but you are speaking inside. Each of these words that you speak, whether it's in a dream or in your waking life, you're speaking, and this speech is making impressions in your mind. These are all very, very important things. One may use actions as good actions or bad actions, as good verbalizations or harsh words. You can speak sweetly or you can speak harshly. Remember, we spoke about this in one of our earlier episodes, where everything you speak, Krishna warns you that you should be sweet in your speaking. You right. should not hurt somebody. You should tell the truth. Whatever you do should be beneficial to others. We went through this in that episode. Every bit of your actions are noted as far as your karma. Whatever I do, it's written down, not written down, but you remember it. It's not written down anywhere, okay? I misspoke when I said it's written down, because that's what we're... Sorry?
It's metaphorically written down.
Yeah, but you know what? I used to think when I was a child, when I would hear this, and I think many listeners might also feel the same way, that you actually believe from childhood on that it's written down somewhere. Somebody's sitting there. No, you are writing it down, because in your mind, it's being carved down as a vritti. So whatever actions you do, I would have thought that if I hit somebody, it's written down somewhere that I hit somebody, so somebody's going to hit me. I picked up that donut. It's marked down. Where it's marked down is within me. I'm the one who's writing it down. I'm the one that's carving it in my own vritti, that I took this donut. I never ate it before, let's say. So I put it in my mouth. If I say, I don't like this taste, that's a carving as a vritti. If I like it, says, ooh, I like this. I got to eat it. Remember what it looks like. Remember what it smells like. I got to come back to this. That's a vritti. So every karma that we do, good or bad, is marked down within yourself, and you remember it, and you will make yourself pay for it, good or bad. You're laughing, Luke?
No, take a breath, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So everything, including mass injury, like sometimes people say, what happens when, a lot of people get injured at one time? How can you explain that? And one of the explanations, not everything is explainable, but my understanding is that something happening on the other side of this world, right? Happening to what I consider bad people, right? Taliban or terrorists or whatever, and they something bad happens to them, they get blown up in an explosion, and I say, you know what, they deserve it. I'm glad, or something like that. That is, or serves them right. That is something, when you do it enough times, it's written down as a karmic event that you pay the price for, because you were glad that something bad happened to another being. Whether he's bad or good, that's a whole separate issue. But every entity, every life force is a being. And at some point, we all pay collectively a price for wishing something bad happening to somebody else, even if that person is, in your mind, good or bad. So keep that in mind. If you say something, if you think something, you pay the price, good or bad. If you do prayers, you can be doing prayers, for instance, and you're saying the right thing, but your mind is elsewhere. So you can say the right words, but the mental attitude has to be correct. More than verbal is the mind, more important, because your words could say anything, but where is your mind? Your verbalization of your prayers could be exactly accurate, but your mind is thinking thoughts that should not be thought. Keep that in mind. And that is what makes the karmic influence. What is your mind thinking? Not just what your words are saying. Usually, mind and words should go together. You should try and force your words to be exactly what your mind is thinking, not different. And your mind to think what your words are saying, not different. That's very important. That comes with practice, because otherwise people often will say the things that they don't mean. Shaking somebody's hand, oh, nice to meet you, so nice to meet you. But really in your mind, you're saying, oh, I know all about you. Somebody told me before I even met you what a lousy person you are. That's what's going to go, not what you said, nice to meet you. The vritti is going to be what you thought in your mind. So why? Because the mind doesn't die. The speech dies, because once I die, my voice box dies, my words die, they dry up, nothing comes out. But everything I said is marked down in my mind, and I take it to the next life. The mind doesn't die with the death of the body. Remember that. The mind just keeps going on. The body dies. The mind has not died. Therefore, even the speech which goes into the mind carries over to the next life. The speech may not, but the effects of the speech go on through the mind into the next life. As your mind is, so you are. If your mind is peaceful, you're peaceful. If your mind is agitated, you are agitated. So the trick is not to say, okay, take a deep breath, calm down. Calm your mind down. Make your mind peaceful. If your mind is angry, you are angry. The mind or speech should be synchronized so that you think the same thing as you're verbalizing, and you're verbalizing exactly what you're thinking. So these are the 5 causes for things to happen. This is verse up to verse 18. And next episode, we'll talk about a few other things that I think you'll find very interesting. And we have about 28 more verses left. And I think we try to do about 3 verses per episode, friends. So, we'll be about 10, 11 more episodes if we don't do exactly 3 per episode. And then that'll be the end of the Gita, which was sad in one sense, but also we can go on to other things.
Right. With new understanding, hopefully.
Yes, I hope you find this helpful, my friends. Lou is always encouraging me. He's my best fan and keeps telling me how many people are listening all over the world. And I'm glad that it's being of service. I'm just a servant of your ancestors, our rishis and gurus that have taught us this. And I'm just bringing it forth to you during this lifetime of mine.
Over 60 countries we're listening to in here right now. Over 60 countries. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music is one, and Audible is another one. Any place you find podcasts, you're going to find us.
Thank you, Lou.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.